start the stream.
Stop this motherfucker.
Says we're live. Boom, there we are. Yo. Well,
Yo.
we haven't officially started. We're just getting it going here, fam. Getting it going here, fam. All right. Up.
Yo. We are going live on YouTube. Go to
We haven't
Versus
officially
Horror,
started.
and we'll be live there.
Yo.
We are going live on YouTube. Go to Versus.
What is that? Snapchat?
Well, not Versus Horror, Versus Podcast.
Snapchat. All right. What's up, everybody?
We are going live on YouTube. Go to Versus Podcast. Because they pop.
Wrong now. All right, yo, I think we're back. This is our first one ever, so there's gonna be some technical difficulties. You gotta iron out the kinks, but
It'll get better.
should be all right for now. We'll see how this goes here. See how this goes, fam. Do that, and then pull this up here. Yes, that is a-okay. Go here. All right, shall we record this?
I think we're ready.
All right, now we're ready. I just popped this shit open.
We need a beer.
There might be bad words in this, so. And this isn't gonna be the final. I'm gonna have to edit, obviously, some of this out. But oops. All right, let's do this.
Hey, this is Adam Green from Hatchet, Holliston, Frozen, and your mom, and you're listening to the Versus Horror Podcast.
Do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is? It's fear.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Be afraid. Be very afraid. I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open them.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
Don't you blame the movies! Movies don't create psychos! Movies make psychos more creative!
Welcome back again, all my friends. We're here to the Versus Horror Movie Podcast. Today, we're doing an experiment, everybody, so bear with us if as I seem distracted because I'm looking at a lot of stuff. But this week, I am joined in the studio with none other than
Brandon.
What is up, my dude?
What's up?
Brandon. Why don't you tell the folks at home? Oh, we should say there's no Freddie this week. It's just me and Brandon steering the ship. Freddie's off doing Freddie things.
Jesus camp, I think. I don't remember what he said.
I guess we want to say that. So why don't you tell people why is this? What are we doing this week that's different than the other weeks?
Well, we're streaming live now on YouTube.
That is correct. We are trying this experiment of live streaming via video. Hello, internet. That's hi.
Hi.
We're gonna try it out. We'll see how this goes. So far, we have one technical glitch, but as I look at the stream health and everything else, it all seems to be good. So I think we're okay. Looks okay. I got a stream health thing. All right. So that being said, that's it. That's pretty much
we'll
it.
see how this goes, and obviously, if there is any technical difficulties, we'll get them sorted out. But the audio, we'll still have that up as normal.
Yep, that's a good point. So you can catch our stream on our YouTube channel at just search for Versus Podcast or go to the website versuspodcast.com and you can go to YouTube that way. That's the way to get to the live stream. Obviously, the live stream is going to come out before the actual podcast, but the podcast is going to be a little bit more edited, a little more polished, tweaked, or whatever. So that is still, I would say, the number one way to watch or listen. But this is just a cool behind-the-scenes thing if you're into that. Anyway, Brandon, that being said, what have you been up to this week?
Not a whole lot, just work and chilling some more.
Nice. Have you seen any movies this week? And if so, which ones?
What did I watch this week? Oh, I rewatched Creep 1 and Creep 2. Creep 2 just came out. They're both on Netflix. I watched the first one like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, just browsing Netflix, and thought I'd give it a shot. And surprisingly, it's not amazing or perfect, but it's just kind of a fun movie to watch. And so I was pleasantly surprised with it. Then other people in the horror community also enjoyed it. And then the second one, it just came out, I think just like about a month ago or 2 months ago.
Give us the premise. What is Creep? Tell us about it.
So basically, the the concept is there's this guy, and it reminded me of you, Josh.
Perfect. Perfect. Why is that?
Because he's
a creep?
No. The creep part would probably be me. He's a videographer, and he's hired by this guy, but he doesn't know exactly what he's going to be filming him for. And it's all found footage, handheld. And basically, it just starts off, he's driving to meet this person at his house to do some filming for him. So basically, he meets this guy, and already Mark Duplass, that had played this role, he plays it so good that he is so nice, but then there's that complex that they're so nice that it turns out to be really creepy.
Mm. And
he plays that really, really good in both of these movies, actually. And so already off the bat, they put off that vibe that there's something very strange about him. And so basically he tells him, all right, this is what's going on. This is why I'm hiring you. I'm married, and we have a child on the way who's, due in however long. But he said, I have cancer and I only have like 3 months to live. So I basically want you to follow me around for a day and film me so my son can see what I was like, because obviously I won't be here when he's born.
So it's like a found footage type thingy, like.
Yeah, it's all found footage, but it's shot really well. I mean, it feels really natural. And so he's basically had to just film me just so I can leave this with my son, or when he's born, he can see what I was like. And just already this vibe, is already very, very strange. And he does a thing, right? That literally 5 minutes in the movie, he goes, and his first sequence that he's filming is called Tubby Time. And he's talking about how his dad used to do it with him, and it was, the greatest thing, or the greatest part of the day when he was a kid. And so he gets naked, and he gets in this bathtub, and he starts acting like he's grabbing his baby son, and he's putting him into the tub with him. And it just gets really strange. And basically, he starts messing with him. He starts acting kind of crazy and weird, and then he's, oh no, I'm just kidding. I have, morbid personality or whatever. And the whole time I'm thinking, it's like, if I was this guy, I would have been gone already. Like, fuck this. This guy's just too strange. And as it progresses and he's filming this guy, they kind of bond a little bit, but then he just gets weirder and weirder, and just kind of all unfolds from there. I was pleasantly surprised with it, so I'd recommend, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. And the second one, I've heard mixed reviews from other people that they thought it was better or it wasn't as good. But in my perspective, I think it's just as good as the first one. Maybe not as good. There's a few things that they did in the second one they didn't do, or that they did in the first one they didn't do in the second one, that wasn't as effective. But overall, it was an okay sequel to the first one.
Creep. Those are on Netflix?
Yeah.
Check those out. It sounds interesting. I remember you and Freddie talking about it last week, and there's you and someone talking about it.
Whopper.
And there's seriously only 3 people in the whole movie, which is interesting. Small cast.
Well, no, the first one, yeah,
That's the first one.
Them 2, and then in the
Well, you're right. There's 2, and then on the credits, there's a voice of a girl or something.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just all, and basically the guy in the first one is a videographer. He's the actual director of it, and the second one too, and Mark Duplass is too. But yeah, and then the second one they had brought in this girl. So technically, even in the second one, it's just them 2 on film as well. And they just like, well, it's kind of they never really done anything horror before, and so this was just kind of a project for them to try it out, and a lot of people seem to be liking it.
It's funny that you watched that movie, because it sounds like it is similar to the ones we watched this week. This week, everybody, for those who don't know about our podcast, we take 2 movies and we put them against each other head to head, and we debate which one is better. And generally, the idea is we watch those movies, obviously that week, so we can get our thoughts or whatever. Today, me and Brandon, literally minutes before we started this, watched one of the movies together. And
that's another first this week. We've never done that.
Yeah, we're popping a lot of cherries this week on this show.
That's what we do.
Yeah, it's only getting started too.
Ooh.
I just went toward the camera.
Creepy.
No, this week, in the same vein as the found footage type stuff, we decided to watch VHS and VHS 2. Now, usually we don't put up like original movies versus their sequels, but in this case, it's a little different. And why don't you tell us why, Brandon?
Because there are other, anthology, like both of these, for those that don't know, are anthology found footage movies. So when we do the podcast, we try to have 2 movies that are similar, that could equally, can equally be matched, and sometimes that's difficult to do. And so, I mean, yeah, there's other anthology movies, but to have one that was good as the first one, or, the second one's good too, but also have, there's other movies that are, anthology, but found footage, was really hard. I've looked around. I mean, there are some, but I wanted something that was going to be a good matchup for the first VHS. So I'm like, why don't we do VHS 2? Because it was just as good, and a lot of people seem to like it as the first one.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I mean, only in name, I guess they're connected, because really there's no, okay, so other than the name and the fact that each one, spoilers obviously for these 2 movies, each movie has a set of people watching these short films on VHS tapes. That's it. That's all they share. There's no like, oh, there's a character from the first movies in the second movie, or there's like a couple of
pinch.
Yeah, there's like a couple of shots in the second movie that are from the first movie, but really there's nothing. There's no characters, no arcs, nothing's connected like that. But these movies, like you were saying, they're anthologies, a collection of short films basically with a kind of wrapper around them. They have a lot of I guess influential modern horror directors, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about them, really, honestly. So, why don't you talk about that for a little bit? Maybe talk about, I don't know if you got the list in front of you, the directors or not, but I have it right here if you need it. But maybe just go through a couple of the directors and maybe what they've done before, and the similarities to their past stuff, I guess.
Alrighty, yeah. Well, the actual in the first one, Adam Wingard, he directed the movie that's in between the short films. He directed all of the inside of the movie stuff, with the old guy like that. That was all his work in the first one. And then we have Ty West. There's Dennis McQuaid, or God, what's that guy's name? Hold on here.
Dennis.
I thought it was like McQuaid or Glenn McQuaid, I think.
Yeah. So the first VHS, it's Adam Wingard. David Bruckner, Ty West, Glenn McQuaid. Yep, you're right. Joe Swanberg, and a collective group of filmmakers called Radio Silence. Any of those names ring a bell? And if so, what are maybe some movies people have seen from those people?
Well, Joe Swanberg, who directed, the FaceTime movie in this one, he was also in Ty's movie, the I think it was Second Honeymoon. It was in this one too. Yeah, and then he was also in Adam Wingard's movie You're Next. As Ty West was in You're Next as well. He's the guy. Do you remember he got shot in the head with the bow and arrow at the beginning, and he was like the girl's boyfriend who was a college student or a film student or something like that. Do you remember?
Yep.
And so yeah, that was Ty West and You're. So they all kind of use each other in their movies from time to time. I'm trying to find the complete list of, and then Jason Eisner. Oh no, he's in the second one. Never mind. We're still talking about the first one. Okay, here we go. Are we having technical difficulties again?
No, I'm just checking stuff out. Yeah. No, we're good. Yep. Yeah, so I personally knew nothing about these movies. I've heard of them. I didn't know that they were anthology movies. I didn't know they were basically short films. VHS came out in October 5th, 2012. It debuted at Sundance. And VHS 2 came out in January 19, 2013, also debuting at Sundance. So these are kind of like, I don't want to say like, they're not big name directors. I mean, they're maybe big in like the horror movies, like independent. I mean, they're real independent, I would say. Not like, John Carpenter or whatever.
Right.
So, Brandon, what do you think of the first collection of short films known as VHS?
I had actually saw the trailer when the movie was coming out, and at first, like I didn't know it was an anthology, but I remember just like watching it. Of course, it's anthology. It's like, man, that's a weird mixture for one movie, because they showed clips from all of them. It's like, that movie looks really crazy until I actually watched them. And I didn't really watch them until probably about a year ago, if that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I do that sometimes. I'm really psyched for a movie. And then when it's time for me to watch it, I just get busy with work or something, and I space out on it, and I never get around to it. VHS and VHS 2 being two of those movies. So when I had watched them, it was late at night, and I was surprised for the first time watching how kind of creepy some of these movies were. They definitely kind of put you on the edge of your seat. And then the first one with the party, which automatically, I don't know if you thought this when we were watching it, Josh, that the girl who obviously turned out to be the succubus already just had a creepy vibe about her. The way her eyes were kind of big and the way she was looking around, I knew something was going to happen like with her. I don't know if I was thinking, okay, she's a vampire of some sort, but yeah, that first movie with her, definitely, I knew something was up with her in general. She just looked too strange, but she was awesome though. I mean, she played that, that little role really well of just kind of being weird, how she was hissing at the guy. It's like, man, this chick is fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's interesting that first short film or VHS tape they watch is called Amateur Night, where three guys basically go to a club and pick up some girls, and one of them turns out to be a vampire / succubus thing.
Yeah, it's David Bruckner.
There was a spin-off movie from that movie. I don't know if you knew that, and it was called Siren, and it came out in 2016. Directed by not David Bruckner, but some guy named Greg Bishop. So, that's interesting. Did not know that.
So he took that movie and made another one?
Yep. So VHS was produced by Bloody Disgusting, which is a website, and also this guy named Brad Miska. And apparently Brad Miska went on and produced the spin-off movie, which was directed by another guy.
Got it.
So I don't know. You might have to check that one out. The poster looks kind of creepy. It's the girl with her back to the poster, and there's that weird shit on her or whatever.
Let me see.
Boom, poster.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have to watch that, or I don't know, dude. The first one, it was creepy. I don't know.
The first movie or the VHS movie was creepy.
No, the first short film. I guess.
Film,
Yeah. Plus, dong right away. There's some dong in this one.
Oh yeah, you do see a dick and tits, but
all right.
What did you think of the first one?
The first film or the first VHS?
The first film.
Well, I kind of had this one spoiled for me because you had posted it on your Snapchat a while ago.
Oh yeah, a long time. Yeah.
The part where like shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, that girl was definitely creepy. There was a lot. I felt like at the beginning part was kind of long, because it goes into showing I'm like getting drunk and stuff, and then it, then stuff happens, and then it gets more streamlined. But, like up until the shit hits the fan, I just kind of thought, like okay, I get it. They're getting drunk or whatever. But, no, I thought it was really good. I'll just wait to give my overall thoughts. What are your overall thoughts for the whole VHS? I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed them. I was pleasantly surprised with how well they were done, how creepy they were. And one thing that, that I loved about it the most, and I think you have to do it this way when it's a short film, is basically how things are normal and then it just gets crazy to where, obviously when you have just a normal movie, you have time to build that up. And then, usually the last 30 minutes or the 20 minutes is when kind of everything just unfolds for the entire movie, to where what I love about these movies, specifically, is how, I mean, they set it up, they give you an idea of what is going on, they throw a little hinters in there with a little like creepy face in the cabinet type of thing, and then it all just gets unleashed, and it's very chaotic. That's what I was thinking the first time I watched these movies. Like, each one of these, not all of them. There were a couple that didn't give me that feel, but I think maybe at least 2 or 3 of them did, where they just unfolded. I was like, wow, these are very just chaotic movies, just 0 to 100, and that's what I loved about them. It's just everything's fine. This is what's happening. Okay, it's starting to get a little bit weird. Then boom, and then it ends. They leave you. It's just like a straight punch in the mouth with most of them. That's why I think, honestly, I posted on my Instagram last night that these two are like my 2 favorite horror movies in the last 6 years, because they just deliver, and that's what I loved about them.
Yeah, they're very different. Man, it's really hard because these are really unique, because obviously the first one has, I think, five short films, and then like the main one, like the main story.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, I think, has one less. I think it has 4.
I think it has 4.
Yeah. Like, it's hard because there's some from the first one that I like. There's some from the second one that I like. But overall, putting them together, I think we almost have to look at it like that, just for the format of the show, obviously. But, if you could pick and choose, you could probably make the perfect VHS or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as a collection, you kind of have to look at them. Like I said, I never seen these movies. And because that there's no sharing traits or anything, I watched 2 first, just so we could watch 1 together today.
Because, well, when was it? 2 months ago, you'd come over to my house, and I was like, all right, you need to watch this movie, you need to watch this movie.
Yeah, it was a while ago. He gave me a stack of movies to watch, basically. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to them.
And not even movies that we were going to do for this. It was just, this is a good movie, you need to watch it. All right, here's another good movie, you need to watch it. And so he had my Blu-rays for both of these movies. And so Netflix did have the first one up, and they have the second, they have the third one. Don't watch Viral, it sucks. And so I'm like, I haven't watched Netflix in about a week, and I thought that they had the first one on there, but they took it down. So we just made a plan. All right, let's watch the second one last night, and then we'll watch the first one together tomorrow, and that's what we did. And it was fun watching together. We've never done that before, so maybe it'll every now and again we'll do that. But yeah, it was actually worked out because you don't need to watch the first one to get the second one. There's no, and
yeah, we'll
no
say
ties.
it was kind of weird putting in number 2 first.
Yeah.
Being like, it's like, okay, I take your word for it. You don't need to watch the first one, but still. So I watched number 2 first. Oh man, this is, when we first started this podcast, and you're like, oh, come on, let's do one about horror movies, and I was like, yeah, okay. Not being a horror movie. And up until now, I will say, up until now, all the movies we've done have not been bad. And I don't mean bad like shitty, like they're shitty movies. I mean bad like, as in, I'm not seeing a dude's cock and balls get ripped off of him. Right. Or zombie entrails hanging out of the stomach, and whatever. That's the kind of stuff that I'm like, see you later, I'm out. So I was feeling, I guess I pressed my luck. I got too comfortable because I put in the second movie. Holy shit, there's some stuff in there. I had to look away from the screen a lot of times. I was like, and I said this to you when you came over today, and I said this last night when, and actually I tried to watch this with my wife last night. And
how'd that go?
About halfway through the first one, the first film with the robot eye and VHS 2, she got up and she's like, okay, I'm going to bed now. And I didn't know if she was like, she thought it was crappy or she was getting scared. And so later that night when I went into the bedroom, to go to bed, she kind of woke up when I went in there. and I was like, I shook my head like this, and I said, you are so lucky you left. And she goes, yeah, I was getting the feeling that I was not going to like this movie. And I was like, were you getting scared? And she was like, yeah, I didn't want to watch it anymore. So yeah, she got spooked. But dude, it is like I was saying, Brandon came over and I asked him, why do people watch these movies? Why do you find fun in watching these movies? There is some straight up shit in this movie, and especially that third one. The third one, which is directed by the same director who did The Raid, Gareth Evans, and the Indonesian one with the cult. Oh
yeah, that one was honestly. So I think in each of these movies that there's some that I didn't necessarily was very like fond of, but then there are some that I'm just like, dude, that movie is fucking. If I can just get that short movie, that'd be fucking great. Yeah, that one was definitely. And usually how I'm excited for this pairing just because each movie, part 1 and part 2 have one or two movies that are on there that definitely could rival each other, and definitely I think the cult one. What's the name of it? Did we get the name of it?
Yeah, I can look it up.
Oh, it was called. Fuck, why am I spacing out on it? It was called. Shit, I can't think of it.
Safe Haven.
Safe Haven, yeah. Definitely that one I think was a top dog for the second one. I think, there's a couple other ones in the second ones that
That's a long one too.
That I definitely, like just as much. But that one was just fucking cool. I mean, it was definitely fun to watch. It was different than even the movies on the first one too.
Yeah.
They and I got like a Reverend Jones.
Oh yeah.
Kind of feel like, all right, this guy's kind of worshipped, but he's fucking weird at the same time. Like, yeah, fucking cool.
So, like I said before, it's a collection of short films, and there's like a wrapper story that kind of loosely ties while you're watching these films. The second one, I liked 2 movies out of the 4. I'll say that.
Of the second one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I also thought that the wrapper movie, the story within the story, was pretty weak. Like, I thought it was kind of weird.
The second one,
yeah.
Right.
So that being said, we watched the first one today. I feel like that wrapper story was a lot better than the second one. It just made more sense. It wasn't so like forced. The second one just seemed forced, where it's like, oh, this girl's watching all these tapes, and it's like because you watch them in a certain order, they, I guess, turn you into a zombie thing. I don't know. It didn't really seem clear to me. But the first one, the rapper story, made a lot of sense. Now, the first one, just looking through the list real quick to catch my memory. That's the problem, is that shit happens and like there's no time to rest. So you watch a movie, like you said, it ramps up real fast, shit hits the fan, then you're back in the rapper story where there's a couple of spooks. Then you go into the next story. So it's hard to like digest what you just saw.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first one, I liked, let's say 1, 2.
Second Honeymoon was the second one. Yeah, that was Ty West movie.
3. I like 3 from the first one.
Oh, okay. So you didn't. Okay, you weren't saying you liked 1 and 2. You're just saying you was like.
No, yeah, I'm just saying that out
Okay.
of the movies that are in the first and second, I liked 3 in the first one and then 2 in the second one.
3 was. Why am I still thinking you picked? Never mind. I'm fucking. That's probably when you get anthology. You're like the second one, so I'm like thinking the second movie.
Yeah, I almost feel like now we have our overall thoughts. Maybe we should go film by film, not spending too much time on it, but just kind of talking about each one, and maybe if we like that one, if we didn't like it one, and then afterwards we can talk which one overall we like. So we talked about the first film. So we're on VHS 1. We talked about the first short film, which is called Amateur Night, with the vampire succubus. Second movie in VHS 1 is called Second Honeymoon. What are your thoughts on that?
It's Ty West, and Freddie loves Ty West. He kind of got me into him too. Yeah, the first movie I watched was House of the Devil, which is a really like thing with Ty's movies. He likes doing like the slow burners, and so definitely House of the Devil is his best movie, and it's a good slow burn. And then The Innkeepers is another one, which is really creepy, another like slow burner. And so getting, a feel for this movie, you can definitely tell, okay, it definitely has like a Ty West feel to it because it's very slow. And it literally the last, 30 seconds of it is when, when she finally kills the guy, where you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
And that was a brutal kill. Like that was
Yeah.
fucking insane. But yeah, definitely Joe Swanberg's we were talking about earlier, like when he was in Your Next and he played like the douchebag brother, he definitely just has that look about him where he's like, God, that guy looks like such a douche. So watching him in this one was definitely, I'm just like, God, man, he looks like a douchey boyfriend to this fucking girl. Or no, they were married. Or a douchey husband. And definitely, I think the scene that did it for me was the toothbrush in the toilet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So gross.
It's there's a couple of good points in this one, Second Honeymoon, where I gasped out loud, and not really gasped, but I exclaimed out loud.
Oh yeah.
I'm that kind of person when it comes to horror movies. Like I like to talk at the screen. I like to tell people not to do in my own home. When I'm at the movie theater, I don't really do that. At least I say "oh shit" or something. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Slow burner. I'm not really I don't know Ty West, like you and Freddie do. So I'll take your word for it that that's his movie. So, but going along with that, it's definitely fits that, description. And yeah, really like the last, like the third act / climax / whatever is seriously 45 seconds long, maybe a minute long. Like it's kind of nuts. But yeah, what I really like about these movies, not the short films, but just VHS and VHS 2 overall, is that it really, because it's found footage and because it's like people on vacation or people, out for the night or whatever, like it really builds this almost, I want to say like tension or atmosphere or ambiance that, it's kind of creepy watching people do like everyday life stuff. And then seeing how it turns sour and stuff like that. So
yeah, and definitely like with this one, just exactly what you're saying, where he's trying to in the Second Honeymoon, where he's basically trying to have sex with her and record it, and then like you're in a hotel room and the door knocks, and immediately said I don't travel a whole lot. I don't like to travel, but when I had to stay in like hotel rooms. And when that happens, when you're at a hotel room, unless you ordered room service, and somebody knocks on your door and you didn't order room service, it always made me feel
Weird.
like, who the fuck is... It has to be somebody has the wrong room. But just that weirdness about it that, all right, nobody knows me here, so why would they be knocking on my door to talk to me?
Yeah.
And so immediately, and just how they show the girl at the street walking around, definitely set an unsettling... Because then he starts talking about, like, she wasn't physically intimidating, but there was just something about her that was very creepy. You know, that definitely just made me go like, oh, that doesn't make me want to stay in a hotel room anymore. Yeah.
So that one is Second Honeymoon. The next one is called Tuesday the 17th, and that was directed by Glenn McQuaid. And basically in that one, quick summary would be this one girl takes 3 friends out to this random lake in the boondocks. She says they're all going to die. You see flashes of dead people. And she ends up fighting this glitchy killer thing that she can't really see that she experienced when she was younger. And she basically went back to conquer her demon and get that monkey off her back. What'd you think of this one?
At first, like the first time I watched it, I wasn't too high on it. I was definitely like, I don't know. Like, I was thinking like he was like a digital killer, you know? I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then when I watched VHS for the second time, just for the hell of it, I had actually kind of liked it a little bit more. And it just made me think, okay, how different was this movie compared to all the other ones, even in the second one? Okay, all right, you know, he was a killer, but they made it to where you couldn't really see him, but you got the idea that it was this guy, and she's aware of him. And watching it again today, I still wouldn't say that it was my favorite, but definitely that end kill was definitely fucking brutal. Where, you know, she... you know, he slits her friend's throat, then you see him eventually walking around, then he just falls over and dies, and then he chases her, and he steps on that, looks like a pallet board with nails on it, or the spikes, and then when he's gone, and then he kills her, that definitely made me like it a little bit more, because I think it made up for it, because I didn't say this one was like the worst, but it was definitely probably the ones that I wasn't as fond of, but I appreciate how different that they wanted to make it. It wasn't, you know, just a random guy in a mask. They made it to where you really had to think about what you were watching.
Yeah, it was interesting. That's about it. I wasn't really that big a fan of that one, to be honest. The next one is The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger, which is the title, directed by Joe Swanberg, which was the douchey guy in 2 films earlier. Basically, a brief synopsis of this is it all takes place almost like through a Skype window, basically on a desktop. Dude's chatting with this girl. You know, the dude's miles away. The girl's in her apartment, and their boyfriend-girlfriend.
Yeah.
The girl starts seeing weird shit in her apartment, and basically you see these kid things running around, little kid ghost things. And ultimately, you know, they knock her down, and while, you know, like I said, it's all through a Skype window, so you always see the boyfriend's face and the stuff that she's going through on her end. And they knock her down, you see the boyfriend leave from his little window, and he walks into her apartment. Turns out he was not in Michigan all along. And he does this weird impromptu surgery, and the kids are standing there watching, and he's talking to them almost like they're aliens or something. He pulls out a fetus. It's weird. Then pretty much at the end of right at the end of the movie, he hangs up with this girl after they have another conversation after that whole ordeal. And he's doing the same thing with another girl. So he's either, you know, working for these ghost alien things, or he's I don't know. I don't know. This one, dude, this one threw me for a loop. I don't know about this one. What do you think of this one?
At first, I thought I was gonna hate it, you know, because there's been several movies that have been done like this, of where they're on Skype or FaceTime, and there's, you could see both their faces, and then there's somebody behind them. They're like, oh shit, like turn around, So as soon as that one started, I was just like, ugh, I don't know if I'm going to like this one. But I actually, when I first watched it, there was a few times it did make me jump just a little bit. And I don't jump very often. But the scene, not where the first kid runs in the room and like slams the door, but when she actually walks out, I think it was the last sequence they did with them, where she walks out and she's I'm gonna close my eyes and just tell me what what you're seeing, and then you see them standing there, and then the girl turns her head and her eyes are black, like that part. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, But it definitely had a Japanese feel to it, because a lot of the Asian films definitely do that a lot with the ghosts. They they'll black out the eyes, make the mouths really big. And that's the vibe I got from that. So when I first started watching, I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to like this. And I actually really did end up enjoying it. I think it was definitely well executed compared to other movies that try to do that with FaceTime or Skype, and it just sucks. But definitely how, they made this very creepy, and how with just being found footage, it always feels like it's right in your face anyway. But the way that they had executed that movie, I thought it was done really well. So I actually did not end up hating it. I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites, but it wasn't my least favorite.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, and then I actually had to watch it again. Sorry to interrupt you. After the first time, because I didn't really get the ending, because they didn't really show like him on the screen, but you just had to think about, oh, she thinks I'm a mission. I'm like, oh, it's that fucking guy she's talking to. So I'm like, okay, so this whole thing was just a fucking setup because he's doing weird shit to her and surgery and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like, I like that. I like when the guy shows up in her apartment, like right after she falls down and gets knocked out or whatever, and he's like, that's the big twist, is that he's not miles away. He's like right there the whole time. Like, that's kind of cool, but I don't know, overall, it's just, I thought it was to me, it's kind of boring, just because it was just so stationary on like that one screen the whole time. There wasn't
a whole lot going on, yeah.
As opposed to everything else, it's a lot more like frenetic and stuff. So, I don't know. Plus, I feel like they didn't really explain very well like what exactly those kids were. Like, was this guy working with them, or there's a lot of stuff you kind of have to read between the lines, I think, which is like, eh. So the last one in this series.
But what about the scene where she's fucking cutting into her arm? But she almost seems to be like in a trance.
Yeah, I know
that part was really strange.
It wasn't like, yeah. There's one point where she keeps mentioning she has a bump in her arm and it keeps moving, and the next conversation with her, I guess, boyfriend, quote, she's like digging into it, like really digging into it. There's like a hole, and she gets like a barbecue fork, and
she had like, I don't know, it was like a scalpel or something the first time.
Yeah. She didn't even seem like it hurt or nothing. She's just like digging in there, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure like that would be more painful than
I think that's what they did, because you noticed where he's like going, look at me. She wasn't looking at him, almost like she was, I wouldn't say like possessed, but almost like in a trance, like, I don't know. It was just really strange. They didn't explain a whole lot about it as to why, she almost seemed like she, I wouldn't say she was possessed, but just, I don't know. It was just very strange.
The next film and last one in VHS 1 is called 10/31/98. And this is directed by a group called Radio Silence, which I looked it up. One of the filmmakers in this group is from Flagstaff, which is kind of cool. Basically, the premise is these four bros getting dressed up to go to a Halloween party in 1998. It's all shot on a VHS camera, obviously. They go to the house where the party's supposed to be, knock on the door, nobody's there. So they kind of toddle around the house anyway, looking for, where's the party at? Walk through some creepy-ass rooms. Some of the most creepiest
the doll
bedrooms
and the
and
bed. Yeah, it's, and I told Josh this while we were watching. I said, if I was invited to a Halloween party and I get there and there is nobody there and it's in that house, I would have just left.
Yeah.
You know, and that they did that scene where he was looking around and you saw somebody in the other room, and then when he turned around at that cabinet and he saw the face. Or no, they're standing at the front door, that girl in that white dress, and then he pans over to that cabinet and he sees the face like come out of it. You know, like, yeah, that house was fucking creepy as fuck.
Yeah,
dude.
this one, I mean, ultimately they hear voices. They go upstairs in the attic, and there's people doing an exorcism. I would venture to guess.
Mm-hmm.
They rescue the girl because they don't know what's going on. They think they're like hurting her, and she ends up leading them to some train tracks, and they die. I like this one because it's like it was really atmospheric. Where, you know, it's honestly for 80% of it, 4 guys walking through a creepy house. And it's not so much like there's a lot of jump scares or nothing. I mean, there are some, but it's more like the actual set and their surroundings is what makes it creepy. Like you were saying, like the creepy doll bedroom, the wallpaper is off. There's just a lot of weird shit going on. It's almost like you're watching an episode of like Ghost Hunters or something, where they're just walking through a house and they hear random shit every once in a while. Not saying that shit's true because Ghost Hunter sucks. But what'd you think of this one?
I liked it. I think this one was definitely a strong one for the first one. Just that I just love, like how we were talking about earlier, how it just goes from 0 to 100, and I really loved them being like you start hearing that noise. They're all looking around, so it's obviously the house is possessed, and all of a sudden they start getting sucked in, you know, up through the roof, you know, and then they run downstairs and they decide that, you know, we got to rescue this girl because we don't know what's going on. And they go back upstairs, and that's when you start seeing like the hands coming through the wall, and then all that shit starts happening, and then like the birds flying through like the hallway, then all the shit's floating around, and yeah, definitely this was probably one of my favorites from the first one. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. I like it. I just like this one is a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but it's more different than the previous ones just because of it spends so much time building up. I guess in that regard, it's kind of similar to the second honeymoon, but it spends a lot of time building up, you know, suspense, building up what's going to happen instead of just straight going for like, oh, demon or vampire or whatever,
Right.
succubus, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the overall story that kind of enwrapped VHS? It basically, we start out with a bunch of group of guys who, from, you know, the dialogue, they are making money getting pictures of or videos of.
And so, but we're almost in our own horror movie here. There's somebody standing outside.
There's somebody that's parked in front of my house. Oh, it's my buddy's friend. All right, enough of the bed. Yeah. So back to the back to the thing. We got sidetracked. Group of guys who are making money off of basically harassing women.
Yeah.
Filming them ripping their shirts off and stuff.
What a crazy way to start a movie like that. That's almost like that could have been really bad. You know what I mean? Just watch your like, and it's still, you still think that even now, since I've seen it several times, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I mean, they're like in a parking garage. I mean, they grab this woman and they're yelling, "Oh, get her short titties, short titties!" I'm like, what is going on?
Well, then the weird sex tape at the beginning too with the guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, so definitely it starts off like, I wouldn't say any of it was bad, but it was just one of those things like it's just like, okay, what am I watching? What is going on? You're just trying to. They're constantly switching back and forth, so you're trying to just stay in contact with what's going on and make sense of it all. And then they're thrashing the house and breaking, you know, bashing it with baseball bats and
yeah, basically one of the guys say, "Oh, we don't need to be doing this. I know how to make more money. We have to go get this VHS tape."
Mm-hmm.
So they go break into this house. There's this dead guy who's there. Then they start watching tapes that he was watching because he has a bunch of TVs in front of him. And ultimately, it ends with him basically coming back to life, I guess, as like some kind of zombie or something, and killing the people that broke into his house. So there's not really any closure; just kind of leaves on like a okay. But that, I mean, I feel like that those characters and stuff are built up better than the second one. Which, speaking of the second one, let's talk about VHS 2, which came out a year later. Brandon. The first movie in VHS 2 is called Phase 1 Clinical Trials, and it was directed by Adam Wingard.
You also acted in it.
And it basically opens up with a guy who just got a robot eye implant thing because he had a car accident, and they replaced his eye with a one that records. He's doing a test, and they tell him that they're going to see everything. He goes home, and my thought was he has a pretty big home for just living by himself and playing video games and smoking pot. I don't know how he makes his money, but more power to him. A girl he sees at the doctor's office earlier that day comes and tells him, you're gonna start seeing weird shit, and these implants help you see them. They're always there, I guess, and the more attention you pay to them, the more that they, I guess, mess with you. And then ultimately they kill both of this guy and the girl. What did you think of this movie?
I enjoyed it. It was definitely like, at first when I thought of that movie with was it Jessica Alba, The Eye, where she gets eyes and she's seeing like shit, which from what I remember, I don't think I actually liked that movie. So with this one, I was kind of the same thing. I'm like, okay, he's obviously gonna be like, something's gonna happen with the eye. But the only thing that I didn't really like about it was the first bloody dead guy that he saw. I think could have looked a little more creepy. He looked just kind of like plain. But definitely it started getting creepy when he was seeing body shapes in his bed. And how the first time where he can tell that, when he's going like, oh, fuck. You're like, what the fuck, And he's going to rip the sheet off and how it goes like smooth. Like there's nothing there. Definitely that's what I'm like, all right, this is actually kind of creepy. And like I said, just with found footage, it always feels like it's right there. You're seeing, their point of view. But overall, I did enjoy this one. I liked it a lot.
This one, I'm kind of the opposite. This one, so this is the very first one I'm watching, right? I thought that it's kind of funny you mentioned that the guy in it is the director, because I didn't know that when I watched it. And when I was watching it, I was like, man, this guy is not a good actor at all. Like, just the way he's like, just some of this, like, he hears some shit, he locks himself in a room, and he's like, who's there? Who's out there? Like, he's just kind of like real, like, fakey, I guess. So that kind of took me out of it. I kind of laughed when the girl was like, he sees a dead guy, and he describes her to this girl who can't necessarily see him, but she can hear him
in the window. Yeah, that was actually pretty creepy.
And she goes, "Oh, that's my uncle." And she's like, "I know how to make him ignore us." And she just like starts boning down on this guy, and I was like, "Okay, that's kind of random." I like it because it built atmosphere. I was yelling at the TV as he was like, the first time he starts hearing noises and he's walking through his house. Last night I was just saying, don't just leave the house. Like, what are you doing? Don't go looking for trouble. Like, just leave. And every time he turned the corner real fast or something, I would just expect that kind of, see, this is the kind of shit that scares me the most. Not like demons or whatever shit. This kind of shit where it's like you're in your house alone, you hear a noise, and you see evidence of something that's not right. He had the kettle on the ground. Because, like, I'm here a lot by myself sometimes. It's a big house. I hear noises, whether it be the house wood creaking or whatever, and it freaks shit out of me. So I could relate. But in that regard, I liked it. In terms of, like, the actual, like, story of what the ghosts are or whatever, I wasn't a fan. Next up is A Ride in the Park, directed by Eduardo Sanchez and Greg Hale. And basically, this is a first-person zombie movie.
Yes.
Guy's on a bike riding in a park, comes across a zombie lady. and a group of zombies chasing her. She bites him. He turns into a zombie. And then it just goes from there. He visits a birthday party. I mean, I'll say this. I like this. I'm not a fan of zombie movies because of I've never liked the gore and shit. Not because like I'm a baby, but I just get squeamish.
You're a baby,
I guess. Well, I just don't like looking at it. Like, come on, like show me like I don't know, a vampire hot chick or something. Not like, don't show me like zombies with like their mouth missing and shit. That's, anyway, that's besides the point. But I do like in this movie because it I've always wondered, and now as I was watching this, I watched it with a buddy who was over, who's into, horror movies and stuff too. And as soon as this guy became a zombie, I asked him, why don't zombies just eat other zombies? Like, why do they have to chase living people when, they got groups of zombies right there? And I shit you not, a minute later in this film, the guy who turned into a zombie bites his own arm, spits it out, and then he's like they explain in this movie, zombies don't eat other zombies because like the flesh is rotten or it doesn't taste good or what. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm totally down for this. I did think it was kind of funny though at the end because the zombie you're following, first person wise, ends up basically killing himself.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was kind of weird because I'm like, well, if he's a zombie, I don't think he would.
But it could also have been they did lead it that way, that he picked up the shotgun and killed himself. But what we saw in George Romero's Day of the Dead, that zombies Day of the Dead. Sorry, I thought I said Dawn. Can be intelligent, and so maybe because at the end, he picks up his phone and she's on there, and it's like, oh,
butt dials him.
Yeah, well, I can't see you later. I love you. So maybe he just understood that, knowing that he's no longer going to be there, so he might as well just kill himself.
Last thing I'll say about this movie is it is brutal. There is some gross shit in this movie.
I love this because not just because I love zombies, but just the atmosphere of it, where they were kind of like, where we're in Arizona, it felt like northern Arizona, or you're kind of up in the woods. Usually zombies, it's cemeteries, morgues, cities.
And it's daylight too.
And it's daylight.
Yeah,
it's
that's what made it weird too. Is like, oh, this shit is happening in broad daylight as opposed to like, under the guise of night or whatever.
All right.
What did you think overall of this movie?
I enjoyed it. It was really fun, and I loved just the first part of it where he's kind of riding the trailing on his bike and jumping the ramps and stuff, and then right away he runs into that girl, and then she turns into a zombie, and then the way that they were throwing up, and he's just like what the fuck, and yeah, this is definitely one of the favorites from the second one for sure. I liked it a lot. What did you think of it?
It was definitely fun, I guess. And even though, like I said, there's a lot of gore and stuff, like it didn't turn me off too much because I was having fun. Like I mean, there was parts of it that was kind of funny. You see this birthday party of people that stumble across.
Like, immediately when they basically pan that party, I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Here it comes, Like, yeah, that was cool as fuck. I really enjoyed just, they set it up and you're like, oh shit. And I immediately start thinking, oh, they're gonna eat the kids. They're gonna, start fucking chowing down on the kids. But yeah, just that whole ending too was just really fucking cool.
Yeah, I expected to see like kid zombies or something, but they never got to that part. But it's still fun.
No.
Next movie was called Safe Haven, which you kind of touched upon. Directed by Timo Tjahjanto, I might want to say, is an Indonesian director, and Gareth Evans. Both these guys did the Raid movies, which were phenomenal. I don't know if you ever seen them.
I have not.
Definitely you should see them. They're awesome.
They
action.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, they're foreign movies, but it's like an action movie. It's like one guy goes into this house and he takes out, not a house, but like I guess like apartment complex or something, and he takes them out. The way I think you would really like it because there's a lot of kill scenes because it's an action movie. Mm-hmm. A lot of like hand-to-hand combat and combat, and the way that they the way that people die in this movie, like getting shoved in through spikes and shit in their surround. Like, it's insane. I think you'd really like it. It's really gory too. Safe Haven, which basically the plot is 4 people are interviewing this Jim Jones like type person in Indonesia. They go to his compound. They're allowed in, and they see all this weird shit going on until finally they sit down for like a proper interview with him, and he starts harping that the time is now, and he orders basically everyone to kill themselves, and the girl that was with the group of interviewers, one of the 4 that showed up to this complex, you find out is pregnant with another guy in this group's kid. Not her fiance, but this guy. And she ends up giving birth, I guess, to some kind of demon goat Satan thing.
yeah, that was definitely it threw me off when it's towards the end. Yeah, I thought it was creepy the first couple scenes you see him in, but the ending where he's like standing or on the car and looking over, it kind of lost me there just a little bit.
Yeah,
that's definitely coming out was fucking creepy.
That's the one thing
awesome
that I think this film is so good, the way it's made, that I couldn't take myself out of it and think it was not real when I was watching it. I kept seeing like this is really happening until toward the end when shit really gets happening, where the guy randomly explodes and there's shit crawling on the wall. But I thought the same thing. I had that feeling up until that very last shot where the guy wakes up and you see the demon standing over him and he says Papa, because it's technically his dad, I guess. I was like, that seems a little too like comedic.
What about the snot? That was pretty gross.
What snot?
The end where he chases the car down and the guy's laying there and he's covered in blood, and then you see the goat come over the top of him and the guy starts laughing and he has a
I forgot about that. He goes like just fucking nuts. But I mean, like the way that they're walking through this complex and you see all these people, dude, I had to look away at this part because anytime this is another thing about me, anytime they show someone on screen blowing their brains out or getting shot execution style or some shit, like I can't do that because like that's just like that's too real. Like that's like, I'm not saying like, oh, you shouldn't watch it, but I'm just saying like that people do that, and it's like, the other shit where it's like vampires like pulling dicks and balls off of people, like, that's never gonna happen. Yeah, maybe you believe in that stuff, but seeing someone blow their brains out is like that's too much. Like that happens all the time. So that kind of stuff I never have been able to watch. But there's a lot of that in this movie. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of fucking creepy, mindless followers of this crazy dude. The main guy, the Jim Jones guy, that guy is nuts. Like that actor did a really good job just being crazy, and you see this transformation of being
unpredictable.
Because in the beginning he's kind of calm, telling them about this place. Then when they interview him, he's he's getting more pale and more just something's not right, up until the end when he's just crazy. Yeah, man, this one is so well done. I thought it was too well done. It's definitely a hard time watching it. What did you think?
I fucking loved it. Say like just the overall, just how like everything about it was just so different from the other movies, and just movies like horror movies in general. Like just the scene, where they run in after he's basically ordered everybody to kill themselves, and you walk in and you see all those guys with guns to their heads, and they just fucking kill themselves, and they all fall over.
Oh yeah, at the same exact time.
I know. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then
that's like just in the beginning of when shit's going crazy too.
Right. Yeah. It still like unfolds, and then the scene where he hops over the desk. He starts like speaking. Like he's talking not to the guy, but to somebody else that that you don't see. He's taking his shirt off. Then he jumps over the desk and he slits the guy's throat with the box cutter. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? And then just the scene, like already how we said on the first one with the you know, the Halloween one, the last one. If I were to walk into this guy's, basically this compound, and I see little kids in a classroom drawing, not acting, basically acting like I'm not even there. And then I look over and these women walk in and how they tell me about how blessed. I remember that part where she's like, "You're very blessed" or something. Basically, they pointed out that she was pregnant. And already they're walking like through this creepy combine. There's those Blair Witch looking symbols that they give them. And she's like, "I'm not wearing those." That's what I'm like, those look like the Blair Witch symbols. Same thing. I would have been like, all right, I'm not staying here. This is just too over the top. You know, I'm leaving. But as this went on, like I seriously, I wouldn't say like fell in love with it, but I was just like, fuck, dude. Like if there was the best movie from the second one, I think this one's it. Like it was just so well done. It was creepy. And then where he comes out and he's like naked and he's covered in blood and he's like, "It is fulfilled." Then he explodes.
Oh yeah, the leader guy.
Yeah, and then they're basically executing those guys. Oh, and then what did he say? The guy runs in and he's shooting those guys. And he's telling him not to shoot the last guy
because it's his buddy or whatever.
It's his buddy, yeah. And then what did he say to him before he committed suicide? He said, "It was nice knowing you," or "I'll see you." So he said, I can't remember what he said. But anyway, yeah, he then just fucking shoots himself, and yeah, just fucking crazy, man. That definitely had a.
Yeah, I don't know how you write that. I don't know. It had everything, and even the dead guys came back as like demon zombie things, or it was
nuts. Like that movie is fucking crazy.
I wish that after that movie, I was like, how can they top this? Because there was still a movie left, and then my buddy who I watched it with was like, as soon as the next film started, which is the last one, he was like, "Oh, can we just skip this one? Just turn it off. I don't want to watch this one." And so in my mind, I was thinking, this one has got to be even more nuts than the one we just watched if he doesn't want to watch it. And it's called Slumber Party Alien Abduction by Jason Eisner. And basically, it follows some teenagers that are at a house, I guess, and their parents leave or something. I missed that part, but they're there at this house by themselves in the woods. And they're doing stupid shit. They're catching people,
kids,
boning down, people whacking it.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a dog, and they put this GoPro on the dog, and then from there, shit goes crazy. Aliens come down. They're chasing them through the woods. Just like, I don't know. To me, this movie is very blah. Like, I wish they wouldn't have. I honestly wish they just would have ended with either put this one before the Safe Haven one, so Safe Haven could be last, or just not even put this one. Because this one to me is just like, it's like I get it. Like, they're just kids, and they're running through the forest. They're getting chased. And, like, that was pretty much it. I mean, it's just them running the whole time from something. There wasn't really... To me, it wasn't even scary. Like, it I don't know. Like, there wasn't even a jump scare to me. They were just running around. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I definitely respected the alien take. I definitely, like, I feel the same way. Like, this movie shouldn't have been last. I think it should have maybe been second to last, or maybe even just the second movie. But one thing that I did like about it was the actual, as I said before, just the last part where the aliens actually invade, and the part where, he pulls him out of the water, or she pulls him out of the water, and he's not breathing. Then you see that alien come out of the boardwalk, and he's crawling towards them. Like, those parts I liked of whenever you saw them, it just got really loud, and they were just kept coming after him. That part I really liked, or those parts. But the part where they're like all three like walking together, like I was like, it's not really that. I mean, I guess it could be creepy, but it really wasn't like all that creepy.
Plus, in the end, it ends with the dog dying, which is horrible. Honestly, I turned to my friend and I was like, I know why you wanted to watch this, because
you didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, animals dying. Honestly, I cared more about that dog than I did any of the kids. The whole time, as soon as they put that camera on the dog, in my mind, I just kept saying to myself, this is not going to end well for that dog. And sure enough, it didn't. To me, That was the scariest part about this movie is the dog died. And showing it, oh my God.
I know, we've done a lot of animal deaths in movies. Like we got Slither and
Yeah.
it's just
But I thought, I don't know, I thought it was pretty forgettable. It's whatever.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it wasn't the best, and it definitely should have been last. But I did like, what did you think of, the scenes we're talking about where the aliens are actually invading?
Yeah.
And you see them a little bit, and like those scenes were pretty intense. I thought they were well done, but just like everything else around it, I think could have been better and more effective. And
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. And then kind of touched on this before, but the Rapper movie in VHS 2, it's like a private investigator who's doing this thing in the very beginning, spying on someone in a hotel room, cheating. He gets caught. He blackmails him, basically. He picks up this girl, which I think is his girlfriend. They go to this house because this guy's been missing, and his mom wants these two to find her son. I don't know. There was a creepy part. There was someone crawling around in the background or something like
that. Yeah, that was creepy. And even in the first one too. And yeah, Adam Wingard, I think, directed the Rapper around that one too. The way he set it up to where like you see your screen and then you see them, but they leave just enough gap in the doorway where like,
oh yeah, of course,
something's gonna come through that fucking door.
Yeah, the way it's framed, even you're just waiting for something to.
Even though it didn't, but it made you feel uncomfortable knowing, all right, they're gonna pan away when they come back. Something's gonna be at that door.
Yeah,
but that scene where she's sitting there, and you see somebody crawling in the doorway, and she doesn't see him, and she bends over to put the VHS player in, and then he's gone. It was definitely creepy.
Yeah, I just thought the whole story was kind of like lacking something. It just felt kind of lazy. Like they just kind of came up with something on the fly, which I don't know. They very well might have done, given the track record of being indie guys. We're running kind of long, but let me ask you this: it's just kind of on the fly. But we have 9 movies, 11, I guess, if you count the Rapper movies. If you had to pick one of the Rapper movies, and then let's say 4 of the short films from either movie to make the perfect VHS movie, which ones would you do?
Well, I would definitely do the Rapper from the first one. Like I said, we both agree that one was really well done.
I agree.
And then if I were to pick basically 4 movies from both of them to make one.
Yep.
Do they need to be in specific order or just?
I mean, if you have an order, yeah, you can do it. But
no, that'll just take too long because I'll sit here and I'll fucking think about it. Yeah, definitely. The Succubus was definitely fucking awesome. Second Honeymoon was awesome. So I have to pick 2 from each one.
No, you. I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
all right.
4 total.
Yeah, so the Succubus, the Second Honeymoon, then Halloween Night, and then the Safe Haven from the second one.
Oh man, we're so close.
And then I would probably say the zombie one from the second one.
Yeah, I was gonna say first Rapper, so the overall story from the first movie. The Succubus one. I'd probably do Second Honeymoon, and then the zombie first person one from the VHS 2, and then end with Safe Haven. That would be my 4. Yeah. I think those are honestly the best, but we have to pick one collection overall because that's what this show is. We versus movies. Which one could you watch on a rainy day? If you had to pick between the 2, which one you pick?
A rainy day, a sick day, and I don't give a fuck day. I'm staying home and being lazy day. It would have to be VHS 1. Like it just, but it's really like the last several podcasts we've done. All the movies are really tough to pick a one that we liked the best because they are both really good. And VHS 2, and we know that sequels sometimes, most of the time, always aren't as good as the first one. In this case, yeah, The Rapper wasn't very good, the movie around everything.
Yeah.
But the movies in the second one, most of them, are really fucking good, And definitely, I wish the Safe Haven was on the first movie.
Yeah.
Like, that would basically put, as they say, okay, the icing on the cake or the cherry on top, like. And then if I were to take out a movie from the first VHS one to put the Safe Haven on, I'd probably have to take out the FaceTime or, the Skype movie.
Yeah. And
could you imagine what that would be, the first one, if they put the Safe Haven on the first movie? Like that would be it. Then it would be one of those movies, which is why we did these two, that the second one doesn't even compare to the first one now.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I would say the second one. I would pick the second one because of that. The zombie movie, the very first one on the second one, the implant one with the robot eye. That one's decent. Like
that's good.
I like the zombie one, and Safe Haven. Honestly, like, I almost think that movie's worth that alone just to see that movie because that's nuts. Because I think, at least I haven't looked at the runtime or nothing, but in my opinion, while I was watching it, it felt like Safe Haven was longer than any of the other ones anyway, like a little bit longer. I felt like the characters were more built up, like I was more invested in what was happening, and the level of like 0 to 10 doesn't exist because it blows past 10 and goes to like 100 as opposed to everything else. Like VHS 1 is good, I guess. Like there's some good stuff in it, but Safe Haven, dude, that's so good. Yeah,
it's like I said, this was tough for me too because I liked Adam Wingard in his movie, with the eye. I loved Safe Haven, but yeah, there's definitely this one was tough to pick, but I gotta stick with, I loved the Halloween night and I loved the honeymoon, and just overall I enjoyed just the first one more. But yeah, definitely both movies have goods and bads about them that make the other one better. But yeah, but this one was tough too, for sure.
Two very interesting, unique movies. I'd say check it out. Yeah, definitely. I mean, watch both. Yeah, they both have highs and lows. Just really interesting. Hard to really match them up because you almost want to look at each film individually, but at the same time, you have to look at which overall movie is better. So yeah, VHS 1 and VHS 2. Now, before we go,
this was actually the first show where we all didn't pick the same
movie.
Wait, no. Didn't you pick the opposite of when Freddie was here? Anyway, I don't think it matters.
I think you guys picked. I don't know. Well, we don't have a winner, so maybe next week, whoever we have on,
we're a fucking tie.
We'll have to.
Yeah, damn.
We'll have to see what they do to break the tie there. But before we go, let's tell people where they can find us online. Brandon, where can people find you on the internet?
Brandon Hoare on Instagram. That's mainly where I do all my social media. There's a Facebook for me too. There's a picture of Leatherface on my Facebook if you want to add me. I don't do a whole lot on there just because I hate seeing a bunch of crybabies talking about how much their life sucks and how they hate being married and kids and all that fucking shit. So I stay away from it.
We have a tiebreaker. Someone left a chat. I think it's your buddy, Whopper Horror. I know it's your buddy.
Shit.
He says, "Oh, the conflict. I pick VHS 1, I think. LOL." So there you go.
Yeah.
VHS wins.
I paid him to say that. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, you can find the podcast at versuspodcast.com. All of our links are on there, Facebook, iTunes. Although this show is on iTunes, the other Versus show is, but this show, once we hit 10 episodes, I'm putting on iTunes. So this is episode 7, so 8, 9, 10. 3 more episodes will be on iTunes. Tell your friends. Or you can check us out on YouTube Which Whopper Horror says, yeah, you can mail that payment to him now with a money emoji. Or you can check us out on YouTube, which again the link is on our website. I think we're gonna be trying to do these live stream things from now on, just because why not? Like, it doesn't take any effort besides hitting a button. It gets a little bit of feedback from people who tune in to watch and a little behind the scenes look. But like I said, this episode, although on YouTube now in its raw form, will be edited and a little more polished, and it'll go up like normal on our website on Fridays. Fridays is when we're going to start releasing episodes. So tune in, mark your calendars for that. Now that all that's out of the way, Brandon, what are we watching next week?
And we have another one that is going to be extremely fucking tough to decide. Definitely, if you see all of our episodes, we try to do different things like each movies, So I mean, we've done like Home Invasion, we've done Beetlejuice and Addams Family, we've done
similar themes.
Yeah, we've kind of, so this, I'm like, well, we haven't done an anthology like found footage yet movie, so we did this, and so. Aside from the zombie movie and VHS 2, we have actually never done zombie movies.
Thank God.
And Josh is kind of scared of zombies, and...
No, I'm not scared. I just don't like looking at them. They're just gross.
Well, you better buckle up, buddy.
Let me ask you this. No offense to any female listener. Would you rather see a naked 25-year-old in shape woman or a naked 65-year-old
man
grandma of 7? I feel like zombies is the latter. Not saying that your grandma's a zombie or anybody's grandma's a zombie, but you know. Anyway,
what day of the week is it?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because it depends on my mood.
Oh, okay. Thursday afternoon. Stupid.
Fuck, I don't know.
All right, what are we watching next?
Does the grandma have money?
Oh no.
Oh, then the 25-year-old woman.
Absolutely,
sure.
every time. Who also doesn't have money either.
Damn.
But yeah, what are we teasing here?
Josh is definitely gonna be uncomfortable this next coming week because we are watching Lucille Fulci's Zombie and George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, and it's gonna be fucking epic, and I cannot wait. We're definitely steamrolling this fucking podcast, so buckle up.
And do we have any guests for that or anything lined up?
If Freddie isn't doing his busy schedule stuff, tea parties and churches and trying tacos and peach tea and all that stuff.
Birthday parties.
Yeah, birthday parties.
He's a very busy guy.
Very busy. I'm sure he'll be into that. And then if Whopper Horror is available, I think he said he wanted to be on. We'll bring him on again. You guys will hear him for the first time. Yeah,
that Whopper Horror is a guy from Instagram who recorded our last episode with us that we haven't posted yet. But now, I've been sitting here thinking about it. Maybe we should, since this is out now too, technically. And I don't know. We'll see. But that matchup was
Fright Night and Lost Boys.
Yep. An 80s throwback, so you can check him out on there. But yeah, next week, if he is available and is willing, then we can talk about zombies.
If he's not available, I'm going to just send him a nude. Then he'll have to be available. I'll be like, you're going to be fucking available, or else you're getting a naked picture of me.
Every day.
Different positions, yoga positions.
God. Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, that's lovely. So check that out. Find those movies. I don't know if they're available streaming or what. You could probably rent them on Amazon just fine, digital. Zombie versus
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. The original.
1978.
Not the remake with the guy from ER. Mekhi Phifer. Directed by Zack Snyder. No, the original.
That one was okay.
So yeah, tune in next week. Our next episode. And check us out. And like I said, follow Brandon on Instagram, our website, or anything, any of those other links for updates on when we're gonna go live, when we're gonna record and stuff. We'll knock down a time that we'll start recording live. Once we iron out the kinks. But our stream is still going, so it looks like yeah. And last comment by Whopper Horror in the chat. What's the downside of turning you down? Can't wait for the nudes! Exclamation marks. Oops, hit the mic.
Fuck.
So yep, join us next time as we talk about zombies. And until then, for Versus Horror, I'm Josh.
I'm Brandon.
And we'll see you next time. Stay classy, San Diego.
Later. I just flipped off the camera. Love you.
All right. And I'll stop recording here. Boom. I'll stop recording here. Boom. Sweet. We're done.
Definitely edit out my stupid kiss I just did. I don't know why the fuck I did that.
Oh, it's staying in the video.
No,
what happens in the video stays in the video.
Motherfucker.
I hope it sounded okay. I'm looking at the levels and everything looks good. Whopper Horror, did we sound okay? Were we too quiet or anything? We definitely haven't. Yeah, we're still going strong. So nothing cut out or anything. Just in the beginning.
It's a little bit of a delay, but it's all good.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of delay, but that happens with live stuff. He said, "Nah, it was fine." Dope. Now I have to make a new graphic with 3 squares.
Get ready for those nudes, bro.
New graphic with 3 squares and a new graphic with 4 squares.
We're still live?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I stopped recording the actual podcast, but I still kept this going because why not? This is the after show.
This fucking after show.
All right, what should we talk about now? Let's stick it down to the real show. Nudes.
I shouldn't have shaved my body. Damn it. Those nudes got to be hairy.
Gross. Live nude Brandon.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
Well, next time I need to get a camera set up with on a wading pool, and I'll fill it with like Crisco, and we can wrestle each other.
Put it in right.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah.
Just like old times.
What do you think? What movie do you think Freddy would have picked? 1 or 2?
Probably 1.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Dude. Safe Haven is too good.
Now that I'm thinking about it, we should have told him like that exactly. What movie would you pick? Which one's your favorite and why?
He could have been our tiebreaker.
Yeah. But Whopper to the fucking rescue, baby.
Yep.
Fucking sexy motherfucker.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
What?
I don't know. Dude, we need to get sponsored by like Shudder. That'd be awesome.
Oh my god.
If we can be like, you can go to Shudder.com and try out for your, I don't know,
free trial, $4.99 a month.
Yeah, go to Shudder.com/versus or something, and then like that'd be so good. And they give us like $10. $10. $10 an episode. I'd be like, all right, well, we're making 8 episodes this week. Daddy's gotta get paid. That'd be pretty good. All right, well, I think that is it for today. Good experiment.
Yeah.
2
absolutely.
experiments. Thanks for tuning in, everybody who is tuned in.
Thank you.
Thanks for the feedback, Whopper. And we will hit you up, I guess, in a little bit. I guess you'll figure out when to do all that stuff, record and set it up.
Yeah.
Honestly, we should. Yeah, time differences and everything. We should try and like this is maybe a good time. Maybe we can do it a little later or maybe Sunday. I don't know, but I figure once we pick a day to record.
Well, he's 2 hours ahead. He's East Coast.
But we should stick with like that day or whatever going forward. But we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. All right. See you later, bros.
Peace.